don't know if it's true, but I saw an Instagram reel and it said hybrid rock star is what it's supposed to be.
Oh,
a combination of.
I like it.
Maybe that was someone that just pulled it out of their ass, but it works for me.
But it might be true.
What is the origin of the name HYROX? According to the web, the name HYROX is correct.
Hybrid rock star?
It is of the words hybrid and rockstar, according to co-founder Moritz. How do you say that last name?
I don't know.
I don't know how to say German. This is one of those names that has 2 dots above one of the letters.
Oh,
So we'll call it's Fürste. Moritz Fürste. The name was conceived during a night out with the founding team, aiming to capture the essence of a hybrid fitness competition with the appeal and energy of a rock star event. I think mission accomplished.
It's all capitalized, so it seems like it stands for something singularly.
Right.
But yeah, hybrid rock star.
How long ago do you guys think this started? Because I felt like it's only, I genuinely
6
only
years
heard of it in 2024.
6.
Never heard of it in 2023.
I know somebody that did it in 23, and that was my first introduction, but that's 2 years.
Wild. Started in 2017. And to be fair, it was in Hamburg, Germany. So since its inception, HYROX has experienced remarkable growth, expanding over 11 countries, more than 30 cities worldwide. I'm sure that number is even higher now. And the event's unique blend of running and functional workouts has attracted a diverse community of fitness enthusiasts, contributing to its status as one of the fastest growing fitness sports globally. And that brings us to today's event where we talk about HYROX, because Kyle and I are noobs.
We're noobs. We're HYROX noobs, guys.
We've been around a lot of fitness trends and different waves, different seasons. And here we have Mike, we have Lexi. You guys have both been on our podcast before.
They're not noobs. They have done HYROX and they know exactly
multiple
what it is.
HYROX events at this point, correct? Yeah. So you guys have trained for it. You guys have coached as well. Mike, you've coached HYROX.
Correct.
And so we're excited to learn more. You guys got started how long ago with this? Mike, you first.
I think I was almost 4 years ago.
Okay.
When I did my first one, yeah.
When you were just a young pup.
In Hamburg, Germany.
With me
he was at the very first one.
Moritz and I were having a beer in a pub in Hamburg.
I said, you know what? Hybrid rock star.
How long could you hold this up? And then immediately after, you have to run your fastest mile.
That was the first iteration of the HYROX workout. Yeah.
Yeah, I did my first one in Chicago. So I've only competed in Chicago and Dallas. Chicago, I think I did 4 of them in Chicago. I did 1 open, all the rest have been pros, and I did 1 with Kyle Gillette in Dallas.
Damn.
That was fun.
All the experience.
You guys trained hard for that one too.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
Can we let's back up for the listeners.
What is it?
HYROX? What is it?
What is the actual workout? I couldn't tell you all the elements. I've seen sled pushing. I've seen ski. I've seen burpee broad jumps.
Broad jump.
And a lot of running. What am I missing?
So I'm also a noob. I feel a little imposter syndrome speaking about this because my first HYROX race was a month ago yesterday. But I have raced 2 since then, and I have 1 next week also. So I am still much a baby in the HYROX world. But HYROX is a 1,000-meter run 8 times. And in between that, you have different exercises. So the first one is a 1,000-meter ski. And then you have, is it 50 meters for the sled?
12 down, 12 back. 12 down, 12 back.
48?
12.5.
Okay, so 50 meters, yeah.
Yep.
So it's a 50-meter sled push first, varying weights depending on women, men, open pro. Run 1,000 meters, 50-meter sled pull. The next one after that is 80 meters of burpee broad jumps, and they're very specific. You have to have your hands within your feet, so it's not like you can spread out flying squirrel style. 1,000-meter row.
Farmer's walk.
200-meter farmer carry, and then how long is the sand? Okay, 100-meter sandbag, and then 100 wall balls.
Woof. Which is a CrossFit game by itself.
Yeah,
that's multiple wads in one for sure.
How many wall balls is it at the end? 100.
100.
Hundo.
Ooh.
That's
Oh,
up
that's
You
right.
guys sell
What's
your
that?
soul. You guys
That's
sell your soul there.
after 8,000 meters.
What
of
is it?
running.
150? Is that what, Fran or something like that?
150 is
right?
It is
400 laps.
Jackie or something like that. I can't remember.
CrossFit.
So 1,600 meters
I don't know.
is a mile, right?
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
now
so
you're talking
it's 2.5 laps on a
Karen.
standard track.
so you're doing 2.5 laps at a time. And that's when you start your next element. In between every element, you have to do the 1,000 meters.
Yeah. The biggest thing that surprised me the first time, because I had never even seen like the layout, and they're all different from different locations, is the rock zone. I didn't know what that was, but it's essentially your transfer time from when you get done running to you go to your station. You have to run quite a bit or walk, but you're eating up time. So you end up,
4 minutes or so.
yeah, that's a good time. My first one was my rock zone time was 6 minutes. That ate up 6 of my hour and 8 minutes.
Wait. See, I don't like this.
So
I feel like that's got to be counted in the meters. Measure the meters up to my rower.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
If I'm going to run 1,000 meters, I want it completely up to my rower. And then I get on the rower, and that's exactly 1,000 meters.
That's like triathlon. They said there's, really 4 different events because transition is one of them.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to practice.
Yeah.
But when you get done with any of the events, you should be jogging, fast walking, or if you can run, because that's going to, add up to your time.
I was bamboozled. I showed up.
Feels like a NASCAR pit crew situation, right?
Really?
Where
Yeah.
it's like everybody has to master the rock zone. Mm-hmm. That's what they call that. Damn.
So how big is the rock zone?
It really depends. So you exit the track in the same arch. So there's an in and an out. You enter and you exit the same place every single time. So when I did Houston, the in and out arches were right by each other. So and they were in basically like if you're thinking about it like a football track, they were basically like the 50.
Yeah.
So they were right by each other. You would enter, and then you kind of had like an even distribution of your running to each station. But when I did DC, the in was on one side, the out was on the complete other side. So it would be like one was on the in zone, and then the out was on the completely opposite in zone. So you had to. You were essentially
100
running
extra meters.
100 extra meters to get to
Zoom
one
in on
station.
that. Zoom in on that map, Luke, so everybody can see it.
My thing is
Yeah, so this is Houston.
Zoom. Enhance. Okay. I'm like, man, you got those young eyeballs, Luke.
what I love about HYROX from my understanding of it is that the uniformness of it. Is it set up exactly like this for every race?
No.
See, that's the thing, dude. There's got to there's going to be
faster courses. For example, Chicago, I believe, was 2.5 laps, and then did you do one that was 2? So the less turning you do, the faster it is. For example, if you ever do an outdoor mile versus an indoor mile is generally slower because it's 8 laps, more turns, more aggressive turns. So the less turns,
slow down.
right? So there are faster courses. It depends on
I speed up in the turns.
There you go.
No, I don't.
I
I don't speed up running ever.
Luke, I need you to fact check me on this, but I think that I just heard through the grapevine that the world record just keeps getting beat over and over again by people, and someone cleared under the hour, and now it's like at 56 minutes, maybe.
I think it's like 53.
It's
cooking.
They've got ladies
53:22. The
And-
men's pro category is Hunter McIntyre.
They just announced that they're switching from like carpet to turf for the sled. So that'll be introduced at Worlds in Chicago, and that's expected to speed it up so much.
What's interesting is you can buy that turf now.
Specific
I
turf.
saw that.
Talk about a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You too can have your own HYROX rug in your living room.
Yeah.
What do you guys? So now that you guys have competed in it, you guys have also done. Mike, obviously, you've done races. You've competed in a lot of different endurance sports. Why do you think HYROX is catching on so much? We were just talking about this before the podcast. There were 17,000 people that competed in one event, which is crazy. You hear about races like runs that have that many people, but it's not very common to hear about that with a fitness event like HYROX. Why do you think it's catching fire in the way that it is?
When I was in Chicago, I heard the founder, Christian, I think is his name, a German, talk about he created HYROX because there was a low barrier to entry. And you said that CrossFit, there's a higher, more skill component. So you don't have to do the snatches, the cleans, the things that could possibly get you injured. This gentleman was 50 years old. He was like, I can't do all those things because of my knees or my overhead mobility, but I can push a sled. I can do burpees. I can do all these wall balls and things. So enter these boxes that have all of the equipment, and you can train for it. So I think that the barrier to entry is why it's booming. and you don't have to run like a marathon. I think a lot of people who are sport athletes, football players, basketball players, volleyball players, don't want to go out and do a half marathon. Like they want to make it spicy. Like I think it fits people's personality to be able to do something and then to do something again in 4 minutes.
Do you agree with that, Lexi? I know you played volleyball and basketball.
Yeah.
Did you ever do CrossFit? Because it's like, this is something that you've obviously taken on and done extremely well, and we'll get to that part, but how does that compare?
I totally agree with Mike. And I hadn't thought about it in that aspect, kind of like the attention span type of thing. I have always wanted to compete, but with the nature of my business and what I do, I record those workouts. So I haven't had the time or energy to allocate towards like skill development when it comes to CrossFit. I have never snatched. I can't do a muscle up, and it would take me a while, but the barrier to entry for HYROX is relatively low, and I can train for it at home. I hadn't touched a sled before I actually competed. I didn't have a sled at home, but the weights are not such exorbitant amounts that the average like fit person couldn't do it. But I do like that you pointed out, because I have no interest in running a half marathon or anything, honestly, more than 1,000 meters because of HYROX. And I like the component that it's like, all right, you're switching gears within a few minutes. And just mentally, going into my first one, I'm like, I can be uncomfortable for 5 minutes max, and then I'll switch to a different kind of
difficult.
discomfort.
Yeah. What's the, because for me, from like a training standpoint, it looks like you would be able to spend less time training on it than if you were to run like a half marathon or a marathon, where you're going to go on runs that are very long runs or big time commitments. HYROX looks to me like you could probably get in pretty good HYROX shape spending an hour a day training instead of having to go on like longer runs. Am I wrong in that, or am I right?
I would agree. And specifically, I think there's, I've written erg workouts where you take a rower, a ski erg. I say erg, but it could be an assault bike, it could be a stair stepper, and you do those 4 or 5 things for 3 minutes. Yeah. And once you get done with that one thing, you transition to the next thing. And so you're kind of within that same workout.
Those are my favorite type of workouts.
Yeah.
Like a 60-minute workout where
exactly.
It's, and back to what she was saying as far as like being bored. Like I'm not going to sit and row for an hour.
Oh, hell no.
But like I'll row for, 4 minutes, then I'll get on a bike or
nobody should row for an hour unless you are a rower.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason why it was hell when there was a marathon row for a CrossFit competition, wasn't there?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And there was like pads that people had to wear.
People were peeing their pants.
Butts were all calloused.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Had you, I know you've done CrossFit workouts in your time, Mike, but have you ever competed in a CrossFit event?
I've done Alpha Games.
Okay, which is similar. Alpha would be the lifetime functional training, their version. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And when you've done that, how does that compare to your first HYROX workout? You know what I mean? How did that feel comparatively?
So I would say the first thing that comes to my mind is the intensity is extremely high. Like you are basically going all out.
On the HYROX side or on the Alpha Games side?
On the Alpha Games, yeah. And so it might be a fixed amount of time where it's 8 minutes and you are emptying the tank, and you know that there is a defined, at the end of the 8 minutes, you're done. But at HYROX, you have to pace yourself. Like you can't go all out. Like I've made the mistake to be the first person to the skier. You don't win the race when you're the first person at the skier.
Is the skier the first implement?
Yeah.
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 You win the first run, nobody cares.
Yeah. I mean, it looks cool. And, it's a great Instagram reel, when you come into the skier and you're
I was the lead.
Yeah. And then
the fall off. Yeah. You can't hold 1,000, pace.
You got to do this again.
You guys both have done doubles, right? Well, I don't want to. Let me finish that point. So that's what you first notice is just pacing yourself versus going balls to the wall, emptying the tank.
Yeah.
When you do those Alpha Games, though, as far as the strength portion of it, I guess what side do you lean if you're doing a HYROX workout? Your cardiovascular, your capacity versus your strength training. Which one would you lean into more?
And this is where I put my coaching hat on. It depends on who you are. If you're weak, you need to get strong. Everybody needs to do more capacity work, and everybody would be benefited by doing capacity work. But if you are weak, you cannot be great at HYROX. You have to have a ceiling of some sort.
Talk us through, guys, the difference between the pro category.
Didn't mean to get you.
I
Sorry.
was like, do you need me to say something? Like,
No.
do you guys in the pro category? There's a certain set of weights, and then when you call it the intermediate category, what do you call the
Open.
open category? And then is there any other category? Because I guess there's an adaptive for adaptive athletes.
Doubles.
And then you have mixed doubles and then doubles, right? So it could be guy girl, but there's also guy girl girl for the double sides of things. We'll get to that too in a second, because I got a handful of questions there. But regarding doing it with intermediate versus pro, what is the weight jump? And then the weights specifically are going to be on the farmer's carry and the amount of weight on the sled. And what am I missing anything else?
Wall balls.
And wall balls.
Lunge and wall ball weights.
I can tell you what I know and
He's
from
got
what I
it right
remember.
Here we go.
There we go.
It's kilograms, so we're going to have to translate this for the average American.
Times it by 2.2 for our listeners.
Yeah, so the first one when I did singles, and it's important to note we can talk about later, but the difference between singles and doubles, obviously, beside there being two people, is that you run the same amount, but you get to split the station work when you're doubles. So you essentially get a built-in rest, where singles, you were red line the whole time, or I was. So I did women's open, and the sled push, it ends up being, what is that? 102 times 2.2.
It'd be like 210.
Yeah,
Right.
like 210 pounds. Sled pull is slightly less than that. The farmer's carry is like 37 pounds, I think, each hand. The sandbag lunges are like 23 pounds, and the wall balls are 4 kilograms, which comes out to
looks like
about 10 pounds.
30% jump, so to speak. So, give or take 5%, it looks like. 30% jump in strength, huh?
When you guys are doing these, do you have your own individual judge?
Yes.
Okay. Because lunges are notorious for people not standing up all the way.
For most of the events.
And you have to touch your knee on the ground.
His knee on the ground, the
Wall
standard.
balls, there is a judge for every single person.
Mm-hmm.
For lunge, there's usually, if it's 2 strips of 40 meters, there'd be probably 2 or 3 on each strip. So they're watching 4 or 5 people, or about 10 to 15 yards.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Man, oh man. I think about just CrossFit and the level of, I was around, really involved in fitness, still, managing a supplement superstore at the true rise of that sport. And I remember talk about the business of you being able to buy the turf for HYROX now.
Yeah.
I remember, a whole magazine was launched, just called, I believe, the Box or Box magazine for CrossFit boxes. I watched Reebok get behind the sport and create shoes, create clothes. And it's gone bananas. And then I hear, let's look up the stat here, Luke, but I hear it was like the CrossFit Open this year, I believe, had 40% drop in participation. Jeez. So you want to talk about just,
well,
There's a couple reasons.
I was
there's
about
a lot
to say
of
there's some
reasons.
reasons.
It's not just HYROX.
It's a perfect storm. You know what I mean? As far as for CrossFit
Exactly.
goes, perfect storm. But here we go. 31% reduction year over year. That is a yikes number.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in the business aspect of HYROX too. Like, can you tell us what's the cost to enter a HYROX comp?
It's like 150 to 175, I think, depending on opens or doubles. I think, or singles or doubles. I think doubles is a little bit cheaper per person.
I heard Christian say why he came up with that is it's about the duration of a half marathon. So what would you pay for an hour to an hour and a half event? And he said we should price it at this because it's the duration of about a half marathon, and that's what people are paying for those.
What was, outside of the comp itself, what was the customer experience like?
It's pretty solid. It's a well-oiled machine when you get to the event too. You walk in, they're like, there's a DJ. You know where you're going. Yeah, there's a lot of people, and you're very overstimulated when you get there. But once you walk in and you settle down for 3 minutes, you're like, wow, there's a grandstand, really nice packet pickup.
Yeah,
you got
so
all your merchandise before you get in.
They'll write your start time on your arm. You have a specific ankle monitor, basically, that as soon as you've crossed the start line, it starts ticking, and they collect them at the very end. So it updates live.
The coolest thing, that you posted about it was your finish line crossing, like doing the wall balls and then running and then seeing your name on it. I think that just from the, beyond the experience of it, the virality of those those videos, I just think they just are eye grabbing. Because if you don't know what HYROX is, you're like, that's not like a, a race. That's not like a, a marathon or something. What the hell is this? It makes you want to look into it more because they do it so well.
Too.
Yeah. They do it so well.
It's so cute. So another cool thing about HYROX that's unique is that they have waves every 10 minutes starting.
Yeah.
So depending on how, what your estimated start time is, they have broken up that ahead of time. And then there's 10-minute waves every single time. So you're never finishing with like a herd of people. You're never finishing where there's already people standing up there. So
everybody gets their individual moment.
Yeah. So my husband was sending videos to my family as I was finishing. And my grandpa, the last 2 times, he was like, so did she get first or second? I think she got first. And like, he's convinced that out of 17,000 people.
Just let her, just roll with it.
Yeah, I'm not going to correct him. He's like, I'm pretty sure she got first.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get your moment. You're up there. Your name's on the top of the board. It's
That was a hell of a pace for rowing right there. Oh my. You hold that the whole time?
That's why farmer's carry is why the farmer's carry was the hardest for me in doubles, because
you look relatively happy for how much pain you were probably in.
Best wall bowler out there. Look at that.
We did
catching it on the way down.
There's your finish line right there.
There you go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Look how awesome that is. Got the Red Bull sponsorships going on. Very cool.
It seems like like you're saying, a well-oiled machine, and what a cool moment. Mike, you've had to have been a participant, would you say, in more than 100 organized fitness challenges in your life?
For sure, yeah.
Where would you rank HYROX on as far as just the organization and the full-on experience of the competition compared to others you've been in?
It's one of the best.
Man,
I don't know if I can think of one that's better.
Yeah. They truly, I feel like, have done such a great job of packaging this event. And again, like seeing your name on the scoreboard like that, the finish line, I feel like they should throw some fog machines and some sparks in there, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Coming out of the tunnel. But dude, like it's
well, it's funny you say that.
It's a cool
thing. At the
thing.
start, they do have a fog machine and a girl that's hyping you up and kind of giving you this visualization, like see yourself out there being a badass, like see yourself out there, having good energy, and she'll say, I'm a badass, and you yell back, I'm a badass. So there's 50 people yelling out, I'm a badass, 1 minute before you toe the line. So it's just this vibe.
What a cool thing.
You're like in this little tunnel.
Yeah, it's like a blow
trying
up
to keep
tunnel.
your heart rate regulated.
Think about the evolution of like you're a kid, right? And like the first competition was that person in class being like, all right, they throw their hands up in the air like this. Like race, and you just run as fast as you can and try to slap the high five first. Just the evolution of that as a kid to like now all of a sudden I got fog and I got like my name on a scoreboard and all. It's just so cool. What a fun thing to do, regardless of if you want to compete as a pro or just compete in the open or just honestly have something to shoot for, right? A lot of people are signing up because it's a new challenge to put themselves through. I couldn't get Kyle to run a second half marathon because he was like, I've already done that. And I was like, man, maybe we need to do a HYROX, I guess. Because he wouldn't do a second half marathon.
Dude,
I knew it was going to come up.
Why every podcast?
I also hope that people listening to this that are not super fit know that there is such a spectrum.
I love that you say this right after we are talking about
even people,
all those that aren't super fit.
Even people like Kyle.
There's a place for you, man.
Listen, you can do it too.
Kyle can do it. Anyone can do it.
I can muster it up. Yeah.
No, but there is such a spectrum. I think that like having Mike and I, because obviously we were faster than the average end, but there are people that I saw someone finish in 6 hours and she was in a wheelchair. Like she was doing the open. She wasn't doing adaptive. That is kick ass. And everywhere in between, people finishing under an hour. So the fact that there's new waves every 10 minutes, it's never something where you can see someone that's so far ahead of you and just feel like you're so far behind, right? Because you're running beside people that are on their 8th lap. You're running beside people that are on their 1st lap, and you have no concept. It's truly a you versus you race from start to finish, which is really cool. And it's just like the inner competitor in you. And I think that's also reassuring for someone that's maybe not sure or, feels like, oh shit, I'm going to line up against somebody like Mike and get my ass kicked. But that's not the case at all. It's really cool, and it's unique in that way, I think.
Well, you're asking about, are the race courses the same?
Yeah.
And they're similar enough. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like the difference in one course versus the next might be 30 seconds. Okay. And so the guys that are really putting up their arms is like the guys that are close to the world record, right? But I like it because I can assess my fitness. How well did I do in relation to how I did last year, right? So I'm a, let's judge where I was at. Let's judge where I'm at now. I'm in a better place.
Progress over everything.
Yeah, they do a really good job with their stats afterwards.
Oh, phenomenal.
So
You'd mentioned that that's not the only reason that CrossFit fell off. I wanted you to kind of expand on that because I feel like you're kind of touching on something that's like what a lot of people poke holes in CrossFit is that it's not you can't it's hard to judge progress because you're not replicating any specific workout. But I didn't know if you had
outside of the, what do you call them, like the what are the girls' names have a workout name for them?
Oh, the hero workouts?
No. Yeah, that's true. I'm talking about, I'm mainly talking about like the competitive aspect of it, not just like the training modality itself.
There's a really cool website that I found. It's called HYROXcoach.com. And you can search, the other thing is you can search absolutely anyone on like the HYROX results or this website, but you can search your name, and I've done singles and I've done doubles, so it's not a direct comparison, but it has outlined and it'll show you in a graph, like if look up Lexi Johnson, and it's really cool. So the second one is my singles. You can click on it. Scroll down, it has all the analytics. So you want to be as close to the outside of this to see where you are as far as like percentage based. And if you've done multiple, it will compare them side by side. So just to see how you compare. And then as you get going down at the very end, it's like, this is your perfect race. Yep. If you were to improve where we think you can improve, like AI based, it's really, really cool. There's a lot of really cool resources as far as like the analytics side of things. So I was looking through that and it's like, oh wait, ChatGPT or AI thinks that you can improve this and where you can implement.
What an awesome tool.
Yeah.
It's super cool. Like for the nerdy analytics side of me.
Okay,
so
go back down. Let's go to the race calculator or the pace calculator. What's that? Let's do that.
I think that's where it tells you like your perfect race, maybe.
Just awesome though. Like as far as these tools, it just keeps you constantly, ways for you can improve all the time.
Yeah. So like Mike has done multiple, he could search his name 4 times, 4 different singles, and it'll show on that graph, like in different colors, how he's improving or how he's different. It's really cool.
That's all. I mean, like it would appear though that if we have these different distances based on the city that it's being held in, and these records are going to become, held in higher and higher regard, the more participation, it would appear that the records would become, more and more prestigious as the participation grows. That, I feel like in racing, for example, people have like the Daytona or like the Nuremberg ring, and there's all these different places where you can test, how quick you can do a time. There's got to be, I feel like, some kind of standard coming for the distance,
like
right?
The Boston Marathon.
Yeah, what's going to be the the ultimate? I guess if they're doing Worlds at Chicago, here's a good question: has Worlds always been in Chicago?
It was in Nice last year,
right? So it's going to switch every year to this point.
Yeah, right.
So it'll be fun to see, I guess, what they do there, because it keeps like that world record keeps changing hands. But then again, Will Grumpke just told me this, a couple weeks ago, that the record just keeps changing. We just looked it up, and it was in 2023 that was done. So it's like, maybe it hasn't, 53 minutes. And it was in where it started, right? It was in Hamburg, Germany, is where that record was.
So maybe the new record is in Stockholm, I think.
Oh, it might have been, yeah. So somewhere in Europe was that 53 minutes that it said on what he had pulled up. 53 minutes, 22 seconds.
Tia Toomey and her partner beat the world record in Houston in women's pro doubles when I was there. Wow. Like smashed
She's
it.
a freak, dude. She's like, let me just do this real quick, and then does that. Let me compete in the Olympics or whatever.
She did that too, right? She did, was it bobsled racing?
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, yeah, wow. She did compete in the Olympics team.
That's so cool.
She had a 3-second event.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's all for the push, right? Like talk about a sled push, right? It's just pushing it.
I was trying to get the guy to hit the combine standards for that. He was a football player, played at Central Michigan, and it was we're trying to get him to do a certain amount of clean, a squat, a med ball throw behind you to see what his power was, and they tested. I think it was the 30, not the 40, because it's a shorter distance. It's about a 3-second event. It was awesome. Yeah,
it's crazy to see somebody who. How many times has she won the CrossFit Games?
7. I think 7.
7 times.
A lot.
I mean, she is the absolute fittest female in the world. And to have her jump into HYROX, and was it her first pro competition?
It's gonna be Lexi soon. Remember when we knew Lexi when she was so green and she was like,
Oh, I don't know much about it. I feel like an imposter.
Is this good?
Yeah.
She also just threw up, like, we looked it up, and it was, what, an hour and 8 minutes? Her first one? That's crazy.
Well, I love that, like, one of my favorite videos that you post, Lexi, is like that hater kind of like mentality, the comment of like, aren't these just dumbbell workouts? Or how those dumbbell workouts, dumbbell workouts working out for you,
Silly little dumbbell workouts.
Silly little dumbbell workouts. And you're like, yeah, I do that. I go on walks, for the most part. There's not a lot of training outside of those things, is there?
Yeah, I did 1 to 2 HYROX workouts that I would find on Pinterest or just write myself. And then aside from that, I did my silly little dumbbell workouts.
And just
worked out okay.
Sheesh.
And when's your next competition?
Next Sunday. Brett and my husband and I are competing in mixed doubles, so I will get to go heavier this time. So I still split the work with him. We run the same, and you have to stay within an arm's length the whole time. And then same implements. I just use the men's weight.
I'm with, and just to kind of touch on, Mike, you mentioned your mixed or your doubles competition with Kyle Gillette. Shout out, Dr. Gillette.
What's up, Kyle?
We love Kyle. When you had that with them,
probably a pretty good rower and pretty good on the skier.
I was gonna say, when you get to the rowing and you get to the skier, does the the body type or the athlete that would be better represented on those different elements, do they get to take the majority of the work there, or is it truly split?
Well, this is interesting because I am a better runner than Kyle, and so
you don't say.
Well, when Kyle had to run, he was coming into all the strength events not fresh. So
yeah, the running is actually difficult for him.
So I was running more at like 90%, and Kyle was running at near 95, 100%. And so I was coming in, and I was doing quite a bit of the work, if not more.
Getting it started.
So my capacity to run, right, at that pace was, maybe like 80% or 75%.
Do you get to start before he arrives, or do you have to wait for him to arrive?
You have to wait.
Holy Moses.
Yeah.
So that really is like what a like crux for the competition is of just saying, oh man, hey, I'll save us on this, but really truly the run just sucks you so bad that you're.
The best athletes are strong and well conditioned, can run. Truly
conditioning truly just puts you. Let's say, hey, you have to ski one time, you have to row one time, you have to run 8 times.
Dude, you almost ran that guy over. Guy was in your way.
That's a
that
60
is
pound.
more concentrated than I've ever seen any HYROX video, I feel like.
It's a 60-pound sandbag there in that pro division. Look at Kyle's form.
He's just like, he is dying. That's the die. That's the I'm dying row.
That's the I just
said
did burpees and then ran 1,000 meters and now I'm rowing.
Yeah.
You see him wiping the sweat out of his eyes. He said he couldn't see at that point.
Headbands might be a good call for the future comps, huh?
Man,
something to wick the sweat.
What would you guys, now that both of you guys have done it, what would you tell somebody who maybe wants to try it out and they don't have any experience in any kind of like any event or competition that's like this? Where should they start? Coach?
I would find a partner.
Yeah.
Don't do it by yourself.
Yeah.
First off, you're always better with a team. And I would just get going. I think people get so up in their mind about, I don't have all the equipment. I don't have a skier. I don't have a rower. But look what Lexi did with her dumbbells. I think you don't need all the equipment. She didn't touch a sled before the race. I don't think you touched a skier before the race, right?
I did touch a skier.
Once, yeah,
but
maybe.
You can be a shitty skier and
Yeah.
it's going to take 4 minutes of the race, 5 minutes of the race. So if you can, complement that with being strong enough, I think that resistance training and just getting your conditioning in is going to take you so far. People get in their heads about the row specific or their form on the skier or things like that. And I feel like that's just one way to procrastinate starting.
Yeah.
That may be the icing on the cake, but there are also a lot of affiliate gyms that are starting to pop up too. Or you could get a HYROX coach and then somebody could coach you up on what you should do.
Who currently does that? Who currently does that?
Possibly think of a name.
Lexi, are you thinking about starting to do any of that through Lexi J Wellness? Any offshoot programming or anything like that?
I've been asked. I haven't put pen to paper yet, but I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you
as
have
long as
a
I'm doing
demand
it.
for that in your group?
I've got since I've started it, and then Libby is one of my coaches, and she started it. We're talking in one of our other coaches to do it in Dallas. There's definitely more interest, and we've got ladies talking about doing it. I think we're going to take a squad to Dallas because a lot of the S2 guys have talked to me about it as well.
Nice.
When's Dallas?
November 22nd.
So, okay. Yeah, I did it last year.
you guys,
1 year later.
you mentioned affiliate gyms. There are affiliate HYROX gyms. You can become a HYROX affiliate.
Yes, sir.
And buy the turf.
How does that? Well, can you walk us through how that even works? Can I own a CrossFit gym and then also make it a HYROX gym, or is there a conflict of interest? Like, do you know how any of these things work?
I assume you can.
Strange. I didn't know you could become a. So
I have heard of boxes that are like Sunday HYROX days.
CrossFit is
I just don't know if
currently
you have to pay for it.
CrossFit
You know what
is
I'm saying?
currently for sale, and I think the idea of HYROX buying CrossFit and managing it better would be cool. You know what I'm saying?
So
like they obviously
there's a
have
mess
kind
to
of
clean up.
mastered the actual competition portion of it. I think it would be cool if they took it and
You
kind
should
of
start a business. You know that?
maybe
You have a lot of good ideas, Kyle.
maybe I'll buy CrossFit.
Dude, so a couple things here. You get let's say, for example, like I hate to always go back to CrossFit, but it was the first fitness based competition outside of a traditional sport that I had come across personally, and we've watched it grow quite a bit and go through its ups and downs throughout its it's the maturity of its sport. But you also have when I watched the growth of it, it was so easy for somebody who didn't look at themselves as a fitness person to watch these competitions, watch a friend, watch a family member, and then get into an intro class at one of the local boxes. And they did such a good job of opening. I mean, affiliates for CrossFit were opening up. I'm at one point, little Springfield, Missouri, 120,000 people in the metro area there. And they had, I remember, 7 boxes open up in a 2-year span. And it was really catching fire. And we had one of the biggest competitions in the country for teams for CrossFit. It was called Heart of America, HOA. They still do it. But HOA was like, it would sell out in less than a minute every year. Every year they would sell it out. And was a big deal. And so I remember being a participant and watching these people jump in for the first time, get addicted, right? Find that special sauce that CrossFit provided. But when we're in this scenario now with HYROX, one of the biggest, I think, barriers of entry, we say low barrier of entry, but now, we're all in Kansas City. Let's say people that are listening today find themselves inspired and they want to sign up. They're traveling, and they're traveling far ways. I mean, you're going either to Chicago or Dallas. That is the closest destinations to this point. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So if you're saying that, you can do HYROX Sundays at a CrossFit box right now, Mike, do they necessarily have to pay to say that as far as them being, do they have to be a quote unquote affiliate? Or for example, could Lifetime, for example, do a HYROX Sunday and it'd be totally kosher?
I wouldn't think that they could call it a HYROX workout.
Okay.
I think they would have to call it like a
Hybrid workout.
like a HIIT workout.
We should look into that because I just think
workout.
that there's going to be enough people in Kansas City that want to do one where it's like, for a lot of people, they were able to do these in-house, just people, members of their box competing in an in-house competition to get their feet wet with it. And then they transition that to being a more like annual event that goes on every year. For example, here at Brave Enough CrossFit, they do Battle of the Brave. Still a wildly popular competition, always brings out a lot of teams.
Yes, On Your Mark has a competition coming up.
On HYROX?
Its
CrossFit,
own like
sorry.
fitness competition.
Okay.
So even if you aren't doing exactly like HYROX, I think get into a competition, get into the Alpha Games.
I'm just saying it'd be fun for the 4 of us to put on a HYROX competition locally or at the bare minimum.
Well, I said
one HYROX workout.
We call it half HYROX, and you only do 400s.
We call it low rocks.
We got a low rocks.
Ooh.
It's like soft
Low
75.
rocks.
And we spell it
Like
ROCKS,
Well, I think
We're like 75 medium people, not 75 hard
Hybrid
people.
rock stars. These are hybrid.
We're low rocks.
Mediocre.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
kind of hybrid.
took a rower, skiers, sleds, ropes out to the track, and I hosted a couple of events last summer. So I think that there's enough people doing that. There's enough boxes that are hosting on Sundays that you can kind of scratch the itch a little bit and just see what it's all about.
Awesome. Well, I think by the time we post this, we'll make sure to put, we'll do some research on some in-house. Luke will do some research on some in-house competitions or in-house places that provide that, so we can make sure we include that in the comment section or in the caption. Sound good? Cool. Man, I feel like
we just got all the information on HYROX you can possibly even consume.
I'm sorry. When did you guys say you're going to do your first?
Dallas?
Kyle signs up. I mean, on your mark, or whatever.
You're doing
called.
Dallas for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
November. Mm-hmm. Ooh, buddy, looks like
It's the
November
week
is going to be.
prior to Thanksgiving.
You want to go to Chicago too
I don't
That's
like
the week.
in November?
That's
I
the
went back
exact
to back.
week before. I mean,
2024.
I'm
I went
about
back
to do a
back.
half marathon ruck and then high rocks within 24 hours. So I'm down.
Well, let me know when you're going to do something hard. Okay.
You guys,
how like you know.
Are you going to ask how smart that is?
No, how smoked were you when you got done? Like, it seems like an hour-long fitness event to me seems about double the amount that I would want to do.
Kyle's 36th birthday workout was over an hour for me.
Yeah,
not
that's
for everybody,
true.
Not for everybody else, but it was for over an hour for me. And I'd never been more like in the state of pass out. I was just looking up at the ceiling.
You should have done last year's birthday workout. That one was really bad.
Out of town.
It was
Dang.
37 rounds of 200-meter run, 3 cleans with 185, and 7 pull-ups.
Freddie told me about that.
It took a very long time.
Yikes.
And it was also a million degrees
108
outside.
degrees. His birthday is July
Very-
29th.
Very
in
hot.
in a no air conditioned zone.
Well,
That was the first low rocks workout, you know?
Well, to answer your question about how sore and how destroyed.
Yeah, what's the recovery
I did
like?
pro in Chicago, went 109, and my butt cheeks were so sore from a 60-pound walking lunge. Wall balls, 20 pounds. Butt cheeks, so sore. Like, that.
Oh, yeah.
Touch the toilet.
Up in the crack.
Slow motion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Luke, show us. Right up in there.
right
Up in the
up in
crack.
there.
Thank you. Thank you for the visual.
You're not sitting down, like you're just collapsing.
Yeah.
Right. You guys have done Murph as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both of you have done Murph. Have you guys both done it, like true RX where it's not partitioned? Or
Yeah.
You always partitioned it.
I've just had to modify the pull-ups, but yeah, I don't partition. But to answer, I have never been so sore I felt like I got hit by a bus.
Holy cow.
Doing singles, but doubles, I felt great. I went for a run the next day.
Wow.
And now you're going to do a half marathon ruck into a singles? Or is
Into
this the
a
doubles?
Into a
Okay.
doubles.
But
This is why you're okay with doing
doubles.
it.
I have to go for the men's weight, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
You'll
go
be
heavy
all right.
on the ruck though.
You'll be all right.
So it's 60-pound lunges?
No, that's pro.
44-pound lunges, I think.
Okay. And it's always the sandbag
It's a
lunges?
sandbag.
Yeah.
Which so I, again, have not touched a sled. So I have to go like 100 pounds heavier, I think, on the sled. And we'll see. But Brett is very strong at the sled. So if he needs to pick up my slack there, I am glad because I'm solid when it comes to lunging and wall balls. Like I have no hesitancy that I can go heavier there. It's really going to be up to the sled and the farmer carry because my grip strength, I just don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I
My
think
hands are so sweaty.
one thing we haven't talked about is strategery around knowing your partner. And if he is stronger and she's a better runner, she should probably finish some of them so he could get rested, so she could come off whatever strength event and allow him to recover from the strength event so he can run well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was actually, so we went into doubles kind of anticipating we were just going to split it 50-50 when I did it with Libby. We did women's doubles, and you guys have referenced Will Grumke several times. He's a stud, like does it pro and does it very well. And he was following us around with Brett, kind of coaching me up. So once we got to the burpees, which is the 4th station, and I was feeling good, like ran through the first 20 meters of burpees, and she went next. He leaned over the partition or whatever, and he said, you need to relieve her halfway through the next one so she can breathe. Because in that instance, I'm the stronger runner. That way she can catch up. And then we just went that way for the rest of them, which was not what we had planned on going in, but being able to pivot that way. And I think that was huge. So just being flexible with your approach.
Can you, this is getting into the weeds on it. On the wall balls, can you go back and forth every rep?
You could, but it
That'd be a
would
terrible idea.
Why would it be
inefficient.
terrible?
Time.
One rep and alternate?
Yeah, like I
Same
throw it
station,
up to
though.
you.
And then you run around.
He catches it. You get what I'm saying?
That'd be funny
And he
for a
does.
reel, but that would not be funny for competition or effective at all.
Yeah, we did.
He's saying that like
I don't think you guys are understanding what I'm saying. I'm saying I do a wall ball, I throw it
side
up
by side.
Right.
side by side.
Oh, I don't.
Because you can
think
do them
so.
unbroken like that.
you can throw them to each other.
Not that you're wasting a ton of time on but like most of the CrossFit events that I've done, I could do 200 wall balls unbroken like that or more. because you get a rest.
Standing foot to foot.
Prove it, Luke. Get a ball. Let's go.
For the, I know for
Just
like
throwing it at an
ski
angle a
and,
little bit.
I know
for
what you mean
ski and
now.
row,
Yeah.
there's like a little rug that you have to stand on while your partner's going. I think that you might have to stand like underneath for wall balls.
Yeah.
Sure.
Correct.
Yeah, you guys be like butts to nuts. Lack of.
I guess
better
the
phrase.
wall balls is not like a huge portion of it though, you know, like in the totality of the workout.
The
really.
general recommendation
You're just
is
dying by that point.
You go all out, and then when you cannot go out all out anymore, you let the other person go all out
Yeah.
because it's the last event. So you are emptying the tank.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be a different strategy if it was like the second event. You would try to save yourself. Maybe you'd go 15-15,
Yeah.
20-20.
Dude, that last 800 though, after the 100 wall balls, are your legs just done?
Well,
for?
it's not an 800.
It's like
So you
It's
just
a
you run
1,000.
It's a
straight.
1,000, I'm sorry, yeah.
No, you actually don't. So wall balls is the final
Last
one,
event.
and then you run up the finish line. So it is it.
My only experience with running after doing that level of squats or air squats, right, is Murph. And so I thought about, because you guys have done that, that was kind of my next question was, you know, if you're not, especially if you're not partitioning, running the final mile to kind of be like your buyout, if you will, on Murph. It's like that. My legs are just sandbags by then.
Yeah, your quads are blown up.
That's why there's compromised running, right?
No, teach us.
you
Teach
get
us,
a
coach.
waddle.
Do a physical activity like row or ski or walking lunge and get your legs used to running. I did triathlon, and when you'd get off the bike, you'd have to be able to refine your legs. And I took that concept and applied it to HYROX. You would do wall balls, you'd do walking lunges, and then you'd run. And so that's how you should train. I think that there's times and days where you can do like deload days where it's just cardiovascular work, where you're doing your like erg circle. Mm-hmm. That sounds fun. Do your row, do your assault bike, do your ski, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. But then there's more like compromised days where you're doing, I like to do a cardiovascular buy-in, like a 250-meter row, and then do a strength feat, which would be like a walking lunge or a wall ball or a burpee. And then you would do like a 400-meter run. So it teaches you in micro doses to do the run on fatigued legs.
How do you want to pursue HYROX moving forward, Mike?
Myself? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to coach it more. I've got a couple of events coming up, but yeah, I want to flex in November. Like I got a couple of events that I have to, not have to, but I want to go do. I got a couple of bike events. I got a couple half marathons in the summer.
100-mile bike ride coming up, right?
Yep.
Sweet baby Jay.
Gravel. But I went 109 in Chicago, and like the week before, and even the day of, I had chills. Like I was sick. And so I want to actually go and flex my actual speed. Mm-hmm. You've always got ego. Like I want to.
I love it. Oh, man. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
What are you averaging like for a mile time when you do HYROX?
I think Kyle and I were probably about a 6:30 pace. I think we went 103. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we were moving.
Wow.
What they say generally is that when you do HYROX as an individual, it's like running a half marathon speed. And when you do HYROX as a double, it's kind of like a 10K speed.
Oh, wow. That's pretty slow for me.
It gets hard. Yeah.
It's like a very fast walking pace, I guess, if I'm going to take that.
I got a bonus section for you guys tonight. By the time this airs, it will have been sold out. But tonight, Summer Smash tickets go on sale.
Ooh, buddy.
You guys have both attended. You guys have both
I mean,
partaken.
Lexi had a freaking
Luda.
banner up there last year.
Yeah, Lexi won Athlete of the Year
Yeah.
2 years ago now.
Yep.
But 10-year anniversary for Summer Smash this year. I don't know if Kyle and I, either of us, will be able to attend this year. It's like it's pretty traumatizing. He was at the first ever one. I've been to several, but we both have
Gotten a little better since
when
the
they
first
don't,
one.
when nobody knows when it is, including them, until 2 months out.
Hold on. Are you saying what I think you're saying?
What's that?
There will be a HYROX sim at first form.
It's very possible that could happen. I don't know.
Is that
would be
gonna
so
happen?
fun to do
Yeah.
instead of the
Will
30
Is Will
kids.
Grumke listening to this? Because he would be the one to get that thing fired up.
That's true.
I think it's worth doing that for sure, especially like a welcome day. You know what I'm saying? Get everybody. You want to bond everyone, get them to sweat together. You know. But I was just going to say,
I
serious
don't know if I'll be able
passing
to
out.
ride the mechanical bull on Thursday.
I was about to say there might be some passing out that happens if that goes down.
let me just name off for our listeners, some of the musical guests that have happened in just the backyard of First Form's headquarters. also Supplement Superstore's headquarters. Nelly. We've had Steve Aoki twice. The Chainsmokers, which I think was the best show of all so far, in my personal opinion. We've had Ludacris,
Rick Ross,
Rick Ross, Vanilla Ice, Flo Rida, Pitbull.
Pitbull was my favorite.
He's great.
He
That was a
puts
year I
on
couldn't
such a
go.
good show.
That was a year I couldn't go, Sally. I love Mr. 305.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Dale.
That's right. Any other names I'm missing?
What's the guy with the
Diplo.
big raspy
Diplo.
voice?
Yeah.
Who was
yeah.
that guy?
Oh, was it? Yeah, there was another.
Mike.
Yeah, there was
Mike Stud.
just Mike, if you will, or
Yeah.
Mike Stud.
Oh yeah, Mike.
Formerly Mike Stud.
There was also there was that '90s group that was there last year that wasn't Vanilla Ice, wasn't Ludacris. There was like
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't know them either. They were a '90s group that was like big for anybody who's over 40. I don't know.
Did I ever tell you when
I'm
they
almost
were
there.
promoting Vanilla Ice up there? One of the athletes, George Granchi, he's super young, like he's still in college, 20 years old maybe. He thought they were announcing a new protein flavor.
He was like, "Let's go." That's hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know what? I took my daughter last year, and that was the only concert she cared about because they had Ninja Turtles out there. And she was like, "This is awesome,
Dude, I think they're on.
wanna
I
go."
think you're onto something right now, Alexi.
Yeah.
I think we just unlocked something because
Give him
First
some
Form Energy
kickback.
is coming out with some new drink flavors, and I'm just saying if Vanilla Ice promoted it, try the new Vanilla Ice flavor of
Might be-
1P Energy.
might be good.
He's
I
on
mean,
the,
I think we just cracked code right there.
he's
I
on the
mean,
Tiki Taki.
That's
I bet
right.
he's a little cheaper now than he used to be.
That's right. So if we're gonna think about 10-year anniversary Summer Smash musical guests, who is your top 2 that come to mind that you'd want to see? Mike, you first, since you look like you know an answer.
I mean, since I'm in my 40s, the first thing I thought about was like the Beastie Boys, but I don't think they're all alive.
That's exactly right. We looked that up yesterday.
Me and Jeff listened to a lot of Beastie Boys on the way home.
We were just cruising home to Beastie Boys.
No way.
Actually.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Shout out Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
I'd love to see them, but no other names that come to mind for you.
I'm old school, man.
I love them all.
Yeah.
I just couldn't remember the name of that band. It wasn't like it wasn't Wu-Tang. It wasn't Tribe Called Quest. It wasn't. It was like who? It was like man. I just didn't know who they were, to be honest
No,
with
it was like Jock Jams.
you. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Which shout out Jock Jams.
Jock
dude.
Jams,
I had that CD.
Yeah. Lexi, what about you?
Chainsmokers was so good. And I love Chainsmokers. That makes me think of college.
They also just have like a million hits.
Every
Yeah.
song
Every
that
song
comes
they
on.
put- you're like, oh, I know this song.
That's
I
how
know this
Pitbull
song.
was. It's
Yeah.
never something you're going to turn on in the car, but he just plays like club hit after club
All
hit.
bangers.
Like, yeah.
All bangers. I love my dude.
And he's a performer. He puts on
Totally.
a show. I'm
I've
trying
heard
to think of someone similar to Pitbull that's an entertainer in that way. Not necessarily the music that I would choose to listen to on my own, but
if we know Aaron, we know Sal, we know Andy, the people that are putting this on, it's like for the 10-year anniversary, they're going to do something cool.
yeah.
And it's like, who's it going to be? Morgan Wallen? Is it going to be is it going to be someone country?
No,
They won't do country?
no.
Dave has been in cahoots, I hear, with Nickelback.
Dude.
That would
hey,
be.
Listen,
Listen, if we could,
if they could step up a little bit
Creed.
to Crossfade,
Creed?
no Crossfade.
Crossfade, you guys don't even know a song by Crossfade, do you?
Come on, you
I
guys.
knew it.
No,
Kyle and I,
we listened to whole
we've been
front
driving to
back
St. Louis and
Crossfade.
back. We've been driving St. Louis and back for the last like 3 months, and
Nobody would
We
want
got
to
to put
ride
on
with us in these car rides because we were listening to the dumbest stuff.
Crossfade was our it's like the one song we have to put on once, but it's called Cold.
Yeah,
right.
it's good.
Not You're So Cold. Cold.
It's great.
Look it up. You'll know it as soon as you hear it. It's just like this band we're talking about from the 90s that no one can remember. I'm sure the song would ring everybody's bell.
It's butt rock, but that's what they call it because
Butt rock?
they play it on the radio stations that go nothing but rock. It's butt rock, but it's great. Yeah, it's great. Anyways,
Hopefully they bring back Nelly for the 10-year anniversary just because Nelly's always
Right.
good. And he's honestly like getting paid more, I think, than ever in a while because of just his hits and where they line up with people. It's like he's touring, he's doing big shows, places. Maybe they get T-Pain this year. That'd be my talk about a guy that's got a million hits.
Yeah.
A million.
Banger after banger.
Yeah, and apparently he puts on a great show as well. So if I'm not there and they play and I miss T-Pain, dude, talk about one guy that'll be heartbroken. I'm not ashamed. I love T-Pain.
I just saw the date because you posted something today. So I go, is it May 31st or 1st? Nope. June 5th?
June
through
7th.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
My cousin's wedding day. Perfect.
Flying out on June 8th. So
Those Disney World tickets refundable?
I don't know. Might need
Probably
to
not.
do it. Yeah.
We'll see. I'll just tell my cousin, hey, just
Tell
get
my
married on a
kids,
different
like,
day,
listen,
please.
there's more important things to do.
For real though.
Yeah.
So I think we got all our topics covered, guys. And we both know you love barbecue. You know, we've already asked you the barbecue question. So I want to sign this off a little different. You guys have tried a ton of supplements. You guys have tried a ton of proteins. Give me your absolute favorite protein snack, bar, drink, whatever you're fiending for in this moment. What's the best protein you're eating recently or drinking?
Ridiculously easy. PB&J level 1 bar. It's so good. I just ate my last one yesterday and I'm distraught.
I know
So
a place
good.
where you can get some, but
Some
I
of
had one
Superstores,
yesterday
Kansas
as well.
City.
Yeah, I had one yesterday as well. They are God's gift.
Insanely
The
good.
chocolate peanut butter though, also God's gift.
I still haven't tried that one.
You got to try that
Oh,
one.
dude, really?
We will
Yeah.
walk up front and give you one because they're delicious.
I tried the PB&J first and I'm loyal.
It is the richest
Ran
dessert.
through like 4 boxes.
If you're looking for like a straight up treat, that chocolate peanut butter one, we had it. It's like it looks like it tastes like somebody took a knife and spread peanut butter on top before they dipped it in chocolate.
Those
It
are my
is
2 favorite things.
so
It
rich.
tastes like real chocolate or
you
real
gotta
peanut butter,
you gotta have like a glass of milk next to you.
which is also what makes the PB&J taste.
Feel me
really
on that,
good.
Luke?
The
And
PB&J redeemed themselves because the Formula One was not my favorite PB&J, but it was also grape. It was too grapey, but they have strawberry in the bar.
Yeah,
And I am a
We sampled that together.
I PB&J gal.
me
we
and
reviewed
Jeff
that
have
together.
me and Jeff have eaten
only
every
was in that.
peanut butter and jelly flavored bar or
All trash.
snackable. They're all so bad. And so when we saw
Artificial jelly, artificial
we were
peanut
like,
butter every
"Ugh,
time.
this is not gonna be good. And then we tried it and we're like, oh, it just tastes like an actual peanut butter and jelly. It's delicious.
And they kept the macros the same. I mean, dude, it's real peanut butter, real jelly. There's no like artificial hint to it. I mean, you're nailing it. It's great.
I'm curious what you posted the other day about your AMW snack. That
Zero
looked
sugar,
amazing.
root beer float, maybe.
It's
Yeah.
like a root beer float. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
put Fairlife, low-fat Fairlife milk with a scoop of vanilla ice cream level 1 and A&W. It's
Oh,
like a root beer float with like 30 grams of protein when you add in the Fairlife.
see, I thought you were doing an ice cream recipe, and then you brought that out, and I was like,
No, you can do it in 2 minutes.
Yeah. Convenience.
It was
There we go.
my nightcap for
There it is.
75 hard,
Did-
maybe 75 days
is
in
this
a row.
taking the cucumber spot?
Yeah.
Cucumbers are alive.
they're still in.
they're alive and well in my diet.
Cucumbers are still in.
Have you? Okay, so I tried this recent, Lexi. I don't know if you saw, but I tried the mug, zero sugar. They
Trash.
came out with mugs are absolute trash. Like,
Doesn't hold a candle.
How can you like be the company that's like, all right, we've tried the A&W zero sugar. We're going to come out with our own diet root beer. And when you know that exists out there, the A&W zero sugar is like the goat of all diet sodas. Really, right now, I think it's probably a top 2.
really?
It's that good. I mean, it's that good. And then you try this mug zero sugar, dude, and it is like straight up a waste of money. Just don't even try it. It's like a 3 out of 10. Wild how it works. Any other protein snacks or treats that you've had recently that you're a fan of, even if they don't?
I like what you guys have on the counter, the jerky, the First Form jerky. I grabbed an original off the counter. I can't not when
Is
I come
original
into the
your
store.
favorite?
You know, I haven't deviated much from that. Spicy things and I don't get along. It's
Okay.
like my face, like Along Came Polly, sweats. My armpits don't. But like, she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Are you breaking out in hives?
I love Indian food. Dripping off his face.
Don't try the Cajun. Don't try the
No.
jalapeno or the jalapeno cheddar.
Jalapeno cheddar.
The
I have-
breakfast sausage
Good.
one. Have you had that?
No.
That's your next one you got to try because that's like really unique. You don't find a breakfast like flavored meat stick anywhere.
Can you do
know?
teriyaki?
I can do teriyaki.
That one's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I just like them. They're moist.
Sweet.
There's some substance there.
Yeah, and it's surprising to me out of all the other protein like jerkies out there, I haven't yet found one that's like that where the protein's that high and the fat's that low.
Mm-hmm.
It's typically you're going to go high, really high fat, have some good protein, but it's
What are
always
the
like usually a
calories on
1-to-1. I think they're 150.
Depending on
Great.
flavor,
Great
150
snack.
170.
Yeah.
200 is in the seasoned
Ched.
barbecue.
The barbecue's 200
I think so.
or sugar. Okay.
That'd get me to dinner.
Well, breakfast sausage will be waiting for you after this.
There we go.
Hey, Mike, Lexi, your guys' time is super valuable. We appreciate
You guys are the
taking
best.
time to come hang out with us.
Yeah,
you for
thank you
having
guys
us.
for educating us on HYROX. It was enlightening.
I'm learning
So,
as I go. So
me
I'm
and
glad
Jeff are
Mike
gonna-
was here to fill in the gaps for me.
Lexi, thanks for the shirt.
Yeah, thank you for the shirt.
Yeah, you guys are
Shout
all
out Lexi
swagged
J.
out.
Wellness
Yeah.
swag.
Boom. Go check out the new swag that dropped on our website.
For those that have just heard you guys for the first time, absolutely go check out their pages. These are some of the best coaches that we've ever met. Make sure to support them. Tell them where they can find you, please.
Lexi J Wellness on Instagram or lexijwellness.com.
Fast and Fit Mike on Instagram. That's where you can find me.
Boom.
Run information, fitness information, lots of funny.
Nice.
Whole lots of funny.
By the way, I love the way that you custom made this for my arms.
I did.
Yeah.
I had your wife measure you in her sleep.
Makes me look like I do biceps.
Yeah, man. Like it.
Ripping
Like
it out. Anyways, thank you guys again. And for those who are listening, thank you guys for listening as well. We are nothing without y'all. Thank you for supporting the podcast. And if you haven't already, please give us a like, a subscribe, or a share. All appreciated. Thank you guys.